Yo everyone, Xdog here. In this video I'm going to be walking you through my daily perk card loadout. Now this loadout is built mainly around intelligence, while still putting out high DPS and offering high damage resistance. This is perfect for a heavy XP grind, but also works well as a daily class for events and quests and daily ops. Feel free to swap a few cards around to suit your preferred primary weapon, but for the most part you could pretty much copy this build exactly like mine. The last thing I am going to mention is I will be trying to cover all grounds of this build, so I will be running through mutations, armor and under armor at the end of the video, as well as a few little tips I can provide to push this loadout to the max. Okay, so first thing is legendary perk cards. I picked these two as generally just helpful cards, and to me the two that I prefer to just have in my build. The first being Master Infiltrator. Now this allows you to unlock any level 3 door or terminal without having any lockpick or hacker cards equipped. The reason I use this is because I'm a heavy looting player, which means I like to loot almost everywhere I visit and take valuable resources. Therefore having this legendary perk allows us to enter rooms and unlock safes and so on that we couldn't previously access. The next legendary I have chosen is Ammo Factory. I like to keep this on so when I'm crafting up ammo and switch to my ammo build, I'm producing 150% more ammo. You could always swap either of these legendary perks for the endurance and agility perk cards, giving you more slots to fit in DPS cards, but the option is yours like I said before. These next 4 cards I'd class as essential. Now you're going to want to max out these legendary cards if you can, as the higher the perk card, the more slots you're going to have to play with within your loadout. So first up is intelligence. Now intelligence is going to be your key to XP. You want intelligence to be as high as you can get it. This is going to be the main focus on the build. The next card you want is Perception, maxed out. I don't yet have this full, so I'm losing out on 2 perk points here, but I will show where to spend them if you do get this maxed out. After that, the same applies to luck, so I've only got +2 here on luck, so I'm missing out on 3 full points. But like I said before, I can show you where to spend them if you do max them out. I would recommend this if you can. The last legendary card you're going to want to max out is going to be Strength. Now this is going to boost your carrying capacity as well as your damage resistance. Okay, so as you can see from this video, it has just turned 6 AM, so I am losing out on 3 points of perception and intelligence. This will increase at night time due to one of the perk cards we have equipped. I'll explain this later. We are also only in a casual team of 2 here, so we are missing out on 2 intelligence points that we'd normally be getting from being on a full team. That being said, this is roughly around the stats that this build should give. Pretty high on everything apart from endurance, which still isn't the lowest in the world. Okay, starting with the cards, you're going to want Strong Back level 4. This will boost your carry weight by 40 and keep you packing more weight before you're slowed down by being over encumbered. Next up is Bandolier, reducing the weight of all ballistic ammo by 90%. Running this with Travel and Pharmacy for a 90% reduction on chems weight means you can carry all the ammo and berry mentats you need without your weight being affected too much. Finally in strength, you want Barbarian. This is going to give you an additional +80 damage resistance when your strength is over 20 points. This is always a good one for staying alive. As you can see, we are over 20 points of strength in this build, so we're getting the full effect from Barbarian. Next up is the Perception tree. The first card you want in Perception is going to be based on the kind of weapon you use, but for me, running an explosive automatic fixer, I'm going to want anything that benefits automatic rifles and explosive ammo. So for me, my next card is Commando. Now if I had the legendary perk card maxed out for Perception, I'd be running Commando level 3. That 20% damage increase, but right now, level 1 is the best I can do. Next up is Tank Killer. This boosts your armor piercing, always good for putting down enemies quicker. The next one is Concentrated Fire. Now I only have this at level 1 because there's a lot more useful perks than having this one maxed out. However, I feel like level 1 is always good to have, so you can still target headshots and weak points of enemies. Finally for Perception, you're going to want Night Person. This card is essential for XP grinds, giving +3 boosts on intelligence and perception. This does only work between 6 PM and 6 AM though, hence the name Night Person. Heading to Endurance, we've got Radical. Radical is essential for this build. Plus 5 strength at when you have 80% rads. Perfect for a bloodied build, and since we're running Unyielding, which I'll get to in a second, this card is 100% necessary. Next up is Fireproof. This is your explosive and fire damage resistance. Aside from your strength, this is about the only resistance you have to fire and explosions, so I'd recommend putting this on, as even one single grenade can be deadly. And since you're sitting at 20% health most of the time on this loadout, you're going to want as much resistance as you can squeeze in. So for the final endurance card, I'd also recommend one thing. Stop drinking purified water and start drinking Nuka-Colas. If you haven't already, get yourself a Nuka Collectron. If you did miss the Quantum one from the last season, you can still grab the OG Cola Collectron, I believe from Mortimer in Creator Core or Samuel in Foundation. With Cola Nut, the benefits of Nuka Cola are tripled, so triple the effects and duration of all colas. This is particularly helpful when using Nuka Cranberry and Twist for those effects and XP gains. Nuka Grape for your Super Radaway replacement, and Nuka Orange for all my mutated friends out there looking for some rad resist without the suppression of Rad-X. With all these benefits, I put a Cola Nut at a big one for this build. Up next is Charisma. The first card you want to have in Charisma is Inspirational. This card speaks for itself. When you're on a team, you gain 15% more XP, no matter what, so as soon as you join a new public lobby, join a public team. Preferably casual for the XP boost, but if you are rocking events, daily events or expeditions, switch to those. You're going to get this plus 15% boost either way, plus the benefits of actually being on the team. On top of Inspirational, you're also going to want Stranger Numbers. The Stranger Numbers per card is going to help boost the mutations you have by 25% if your teammates are mutated too. In my experience, 90% of players I've met over level 75 are mutated, whether they're buffed to the max or just running the basics like Marsupial and Speed Demon. Either way, this is going to benefit you, especially for Egghead Serum, which boosts intelligence. The final thing I'm going to add here is if you can have someone share at least Stranger Numbers or Tenderizer level 1, then you can share the other and you can both enjoy the extra 5 seconds of plus 5 damage per target with Tenderizer. Moving on to Intelligence, the first card I have is related solely to my weapon. Because I have an Explosive Fixer, as mentioned earlier, using Demolition Expert, I'll gain an extra 60% explosive damage per shot. Always worth having for better DPS if you run an explosive weapon. Then we've got Nerd Rage. This card is a jack of all trades when it comes to this loadout. It's up there in the essentials and does a few great things. All of these come into play at 20% health or less, perfect once again for this loadout. The first benefit of Nerd Rage is plus 40 damage resistance, good for sponging rounds without going down. Then you put out 20% more damage, great for DPS. And finally, 15% AP regen, great for sprinting, jumping and VATs. Then we've got First Aid, so this is something I can imagine higher level players may choose to run without, if you're good at managing your health and stim packing perfectly, but if you're not, grab First Aid. And try stock up and run with super stim packs for health. These stim packs should keep you going with regen until the timer refreshes for the First Aid card, switching back and forth between auto stim and super stim regen. Next, we've got Gunsmith. Guns break 50% slower. There isn't too many decent intelligence per cards to run constantly, so I guess having the break slower is one of the top choices. After that, we've got Scrapper. This is perfect if you take all loot from enemies and like to break it all down. You're going to get a lot more junk to fill that scrap box. Moving on to Agility. I want to point out you should be in sneak most of the time with this build. With this loadout, you should be almost invisible. You can sneak right up to enemies and not get spotted, but try take them out from range if you can, as this will boost the damage output, so try to stay crouched in combat. Okay, first up in Agility, we've got Sneak, making you 25% harder to detect while sneaking. Perfect. After that, we've got Escape Artist. Sneak to lose enemies, and running no longer affects stealth. But don't get this confused with sprinting, because that's different. But when you're standing upright and running, it'll be like you're sneaking around. Next up is covert operative. Your range attacks do plus 50% more damage while sneaking. So like I said before, sneak and try to put enemies down with ranged attacks. Next we've got gun fu at level 1. So this is essential again for VATs. After each kill, you'll automatically swap to your next target if they're visible in VATs, meaning you get consecutive kills a lot easier without having to manually target each enemy in VATs. You'll also get a nice plus 10 damage to your next target, meaning you put down groups quicker. Following gun fu, we've got action boy at level 2. This is just a general AP refresh card, so you'll regen AP 30% faster overall, more sprinting, jumping and VATs. Moving on to luck, I want to point out once more I only have a level 2 legendary luck card, so if you do max this out to level 4, you will have another 3 points to spend. I'll show you where I'd recommend spending these. So first up is Bloody Mess. This grants a 10% damage bonus, and having this level 3 would grant a 20% bonus, so I do recommend grabbing this if you can. And the second card you want is Better Criticals. I've got this at level 1, but I would recommend having this also at level 3, as this would give you a 100% damage increase to criticals. But even just having this at level 1 is currently giving me a 50% damage increase. Like I say, I fully recommend maxing both of these out if you can. Unfortunately, with me only having 2-star luck, I can't quite get these yet, but if you can, put these on. Next up, you're going to want Grim Reaper Sprint. This has a 15% chance to restore all AP per kill. This means around every 6 to 8 kills, you're going to get a full AP refresh. Running with the rest of the perks in this loadout, you shouldn't have to worry about AP too much. After that, you're going to want to have 4 Leaf Clover level 1. So this gives you each hit 7.5% chance to fully fill your critical meter. It doesn't sound like much, but you have to think that this is each hit, not each kill. If you're emptying out 25 rounds on a group of 4 or 5 enemies, you're pretty much guaranteed 1 or 2 full critical bars just from this perk alone. Up next you've got Curator. Now this doubles the benefits of all bobbleheads and magazines. These can generally be hard to come by, especially Live and Love 3 and 8. And the Intelligence and Leader bobbleheads. Only costing 1 perk point, I think this card is a must for Intelligence. After that we've got Starch Genes. This is a must so you don't lose your mutations you have equipped and don't gain any new ones. Alongside this you want Class Freak, so this is going to reduce your negative effects from mutations. This is especially good for Marsupial, as without Class Freak you're losing 4 intelligence points, but with this you're only going to be losing 1. So as you can see, I'm currently sitting on 50 intelligence. If I was in a team of 4, this would boost it to 52, then with Night Person active it would creep up to 55, and this is standard with no meds and no effects. You're going to want to have a full set of Unyielding for the extra 15 points of all special stats, excluding endurance. Alongside this, you're also going to want some form of under armor that boosts intelligence. This could be something like protective lining under armor. Military fatigue seem to be the go-to choice, as this offers the best resistance on casual under armor. The next would be the shielded vault suit. This plan is a bit easier to come by and offers 2 intelligence as well as resistance. Finally would be the shielded casual under armor. This offers the most protection of any other under armor with an additional boost of 3 intelligence points. I do also want to just quickly mention it is possible to get unyielding armor pieces with a secondary legendary perk being +1 intelligence. This will give you an additional 5 intelligence points with a full set, but this is very rare to come by, so keep your eyes peeled. Okay, the last thing I want to cover is mutations. If you are running mutations, I do want to note, with all of the other perks we have, Marsupial does give -1 intelligence points, so it is worth taking another serum right before an XP run to suppress this for an hour if you do have Marsupial active. Ending on one final positive point, if you do get the Egghead serum, you can gain an additional 8 intelligence points at the cost of -1 endurance and -1 strength points. In my eyes, completely worth it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope this build helps you level up super quick. I'm Xdog, and I'll catch you in the next one.